Breaking news from the heart of the British monarchy. James, Earl of Wessex, the youngest son of the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, could be on the verge of a major change. King Charles is reportedly considering granting him an official prince title, a move that would reshape his royal identity forever.
Stick with me here. What if the most powerful British royal title went to a kid the world basically forgot existed? A guy raised entirely in the shadows, totally blending into normal life. Zero cameras. Absolutely no royal duties, no flashing spotlight whatsoever. He just turned 18, and Buckingham Palace is absolutely spiraling. James Alexander Philip Theo Mountbatten Windsor. Yeah, his grandfather was the legendary Prince Philip himself. After years of being hidden away on purpose, the panic inside Windsor Castle right now isn't about if he will step up, but exactly what happens next. This single reveal completely flips the script on everything we thought we knew about the future of the entire British monarchy. So, who exactly is James Alexander, this phantom boy nobody was supposed to see? To grasp why this exact moment is a massive deal, we have to look at why he was kept completely invisible from the royal spotlight. James is the youngest grandson of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Plus, he is a direct nephew to King Charles III. Born during his grandmother's historic reign, he was instantly eighth in line for the British throne on day one. Eighth in line, let that sink in. That is far from a minor royal footnote. It proves his massive status in the Windsor bloodline. James was actually delivered at Frimley Park Hospital down in Surrey, with his super proud dad, Prince Edward, calling the newborn very cute and very cuddly. That sweet little dad quote perfectly sums up the incredibly low-key lifestyle his parents forced him into. Now watch closely, because this exact parenting choice totally divided modern royal historians. Growing up at Bagshot Park in Surrey with his parents, Prince Edward and Sophie James, and his sister, Lady Louise, were deliberately never trained to be working royals, while his famous cousins William and Harry were aggressively groomed for the spotlight since birth. James went to a normal school, enjoyed casual sleepovers, threw regular birthday parties, and lived a quiet childhood that hardcore royal watchers wouldn't even recognize today. His mum Sophie actually put it bluntly during a massive Sunday Times interview, saying, "We try to raise them knowing they will very likely have to go out and actually work for a living. Because of this, we made the decision to ignore those HRH titles." That was their master plan. Raise their two kids directly inside one of the most famous families on earth while totally blocking out all that toxic royal pressure. But there is one truth you and I both know about royal bloodlines. They never stay quiet, and whether he wanted it or not. James Alexander was stepping right out of the shadows and dominating a massive conversation that absolutely nobody saw coming. Back at his 2008 christening, James was the first royal baby wearing a hand-stitched replica of the original gown, famously worn first by Victoria the Princess Royal, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert's absolute eldest child. So even as a tiny baby, that massive weight of history clung to him. Born into a dynasty crossing entire centuries, James was never just an ordinary boy. He was a walking question mark the monarchy eventually had to face. December 17th, 2025 was the exact day they could not run from the truth anymore. The 1917 letters. Patent. A total legal bombshell making James a prince on day one. Many people, even hardcore royal fans, get James Alexander's actual title completely wrong. He definitely did not become a prince on his 18th birthday. He was already one. Fact is, he has been a royal prince since the exact day he was born. At his birth, James instantly became an official prince of the United Kingdom. To be specific, Prince James of Wessex, and today, Prince James of Edinburgh. Thanks to the 1917 letters patent, this strict constitutional law guarantees princely status and the Royal Highness title to every male line grandchild of a sovereign. This hardcore legal framework locked in by King George V over a full century ago, is legally binding, not just some ceremonial fluff. So from his very first breath, these letters patent fully applied to him. But his parents made a massive, almost radical decision. The second they got married, Buckingham Palace shocked everyone, announcing their kids would just be styled as an earl's children instead of actual princes or princesses. Because of this, the powerful title James owned legally by pure birthright was intentionally set aside. Not stripped, just shelved. Makes you think, doesn't it? A literal crown secretly locked in a velvet box, completely hidden from a clueless child. From day one until 2023, he was simply Viscount Severn. But once his dad became the Duke of Edinburgh, stick with me here. On March 10th, 2023, James secured the Earl of Wessex, the highest subsidiary rank. It was his father's rank, and it carries massive weight. His father's ultimate title, the Dukedom of Edinburgh. That one is just a lifetime pass. Once Prince Edward passes away, that specific dukedom completely vanishes. But James, he is the direct heir to the permanent bloodline titles. Earl of Wessex, Earl of Forfar, and Viscount Severn. This exact bloodline loophole is why royal experts were staring down December 17th, 2025, sweating with intense anticipation. Back in 2020, James's mother dropped a bombshell. Both kids kept the right to claim royal titles after turning 18 if they actually wanted them, made 5 whole years before the big day. This was Sophie's clever way of loudly confirming his birthright. The prince title was just sitting there waiting for James to grab it. A heavy door only. He could unlock. And on December 17th, 2025, James Alexander finally hit 18. Now pay attention here. The lock clicked open. The only question left was, would he actually dare to walk right through it? The Edinburgh legacy. Prince Philip's massive shadow hangs over everything. You honestly cannot even mention James Alexander without talking about the legend whose name is literally baked into his DNA. Philip. His full name is James Alexander Philip Theo, that middle name. No coincidence at all. It is a permanent tribute locked into his identity, honoring Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. He was the absolute patriarch of the Windsor family clan, and undoubtedly one of the most terrifyingly powerful royal figures of the 20th century. James hit 18, at the exact same age Prince Philip was when Queen Elizabeth supposedly locked eyes with him and boom, never looked at another guy again. The parallel is absolutely crazy. Philip, the young naval officer who totally captured a queen's heart, and James, a quiet young man carrying that exact same fierce bloodline, stepping into adulthood at the very same historical age when his grandfather's epic destiny first grabbed him. On April 17th, 2021, James attended his grandfather Prince Philip's funeral. The next year, on March 29th, he stood at Philip's memorial service. And these events weren't just basic calendar duties. For a teenager still years away from his awakening into adulthood, standing at the funeral of his legendary grandfather and that heavy Thanksgiving service changed him. It literally forged his character in ways that royal experts barely grasp. You and I know this hits different. Take the Edinburgh title. James, who has been Earl of Wessex since his dad leveled up to Duke of Edinburgh, suddenly holds the legal right to be called His Royal Highness, an actual prince. The Duke of Edinburgh title, which Prince Philip commanded with absolute legend status for decades, has officially transferred to James's dad, Edward. While this specific dukedom won't drop further down the family tree because it expires upon death, that heavy Edinburgh blood connection runs incredibly deep in this specific faction. The secondary title, Viscount Severn, is a direct nod to the Welsh roots of his mother's clan. The River Severn flows from Wales. Every single title here tells an epic geographic and dynastic story. But honestly, the Edinburgh connection carved in blood in Prince Philip's insane legacy and the dukedom Edward currently wields is without a doubt the most critical. When people claim James Alexander is the true successor to Prince Philip's legacy, they aren't just hyping him up. They mean it with cold hard constitutional and bloodline precision. He is Philip's youngest grandson. He carries the name, and now, at 18, he holds the absolute right to claim the royal identity his powerful bloodline demands. The royal system never forgets its own. And even from beyond the grave, Prince Philip projects the most terrifying shadow ever. Then came the move that broke the internet. What his sister Louise did, and why James's path hits differently. To really grasp the sheer weight of James hitting his royal awakening, we have to look back at what went down 4 years ago. His sister stood at this exact same crossroads, and the choice she ultimately locked in. When Louise hit 18, in 2021, she unlocked the right to use the Her Royal Highness style and the elite title of Princess, but get this, she refused. Instead, she chose the name Lady Louise Windsor, stepping back to live as a total civilian, dodging the heavy duties of a working royal. Top tier author Robert Jobson confirmed. This during an interview with Hello magazine. He noted that as James hits his 18th birthday, what do you and I think? It seems likely he will also completely decline the let's dive into some serious royalty. The plot thickens because James's situation differs fundamentally from Louise's path. Palace insiders are leaking that heavy, undeniable pressure might be coming from Prince William to completely rethink his royal options before the crown shifts. William and Kate absolutely insist that Louise and James would be absolute game changers for the active royal team, sources confirmed. Now, unlike Louise, who was a princess by birthright back when King Charles was still mapping out his fresh vision right after taking over the throne, James hits 18 inside a rapidly shifting monarchy where the active royal lineup is facing massive roadblocks. Ever since King Charles took power in 2022, Prince Edward and Sophie have seriously leveled up their status inside the palace. Following Charles's master plan for a tightly trimmed down monarchy, people seriously doubt Louise or James will start popping up constantly at all those massive royal events. But here is the massive contradiction. While Charles wants a tighter inner circle with Harry and Meghan completely gone from the active roster, Andrew totally banished, and William and Catherine frantically juggling heavy public duties, this slimmed down. Monarchy is actually risking snapping from pressure. Prince Edward and Sophie's two kids, the famous Lady Louise and James, were absolutely not raised with those flashy prince or princess titles. Why their parents purposely rejected those royal labels, offered right at birth. Back when Edward married Sophie Rhys-Jones in 1999, Buckingham Palace officially declared that their kids would just be known as children of an earl, no royal prince or princess titles, even though they were fully entitled to those ranks under ancient royal rules set by King George V in 1917. This massive choice gave them a completely normal childhood, but smartly kept the back door wide open to claim those titles later on, if they actually wanted them. Now watch closely, because that loophole changes everything. Edward and Sophie never actually locked that door forever. They simply kept it shut. But now James turns 18 and is legally completely free to make his own choices. As Philip's youngest grandson, he stands right at that royal door. Whatever crazy path he picks is totally his own. This exact moment completely unheard of in the entire history of the British monarchy. The historic vigil, the massive coronation, and those specific moments, absolutely proving James was always prepared. James Alexander is a young royal who has constantly displayed a fierce sense of duty since he was literally a kid. Long before hitting 18, he stepped up for heavy royal events that shocked veteran royal watchers. On September 17th, 2022, during the dark mourning period for his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, James stood guard right at her coffin inside Westminster Hall. Guys, he was only 14 years old. Side by side with Sister Louise and his six cousins, he faced this insanely heavy moment, not from pure obligation, but to deeply honor her legacy. His mother, Sophie, later looked back at this choice, admitting her early worries about his age, but sharing pure pride in exactly how perfectly he and his cousins held up. At barely 14, James stood with absolute grace and heavy responsibility, showing the strict upbringing that hid him from the flashing cameras until right now. On May 6, 2023, James attended the massive coronation of his uncle King Charles III down at Westminster Abbey. During the long parade from the Abbey straight to Buckingham Palace, he rode with his family inside that trimmed coach while millions watched. At 15, he became a real standout in this historic scene, forcing people to, I know what you're thinking, is he stepping up? Well, James has also flashed on that famous Buckingham Palace balcony during massive family celebrations ever since he was little. Those quick appearances are a huge deal because that balcony is the ultimate symbol of British royal power. He has constantly stepped into this role without even blinking. Every single moment, the silent vigil, the grand coronation, the famous balcony appearances proves James is totally geared up for royal life. The big question is whether the actual monarchy is truly ready for him. So what happens next? The future crown meets James Alexander's absolutely explosive hidden potential. The entire British monarchy is staring down a massive dramatic shift. Prince Harry is completely wiped from the board, and Prince Andrew is totally sidelined. The remaining senior royals are completely swamped, managing countless royal engagements every single year. Inside this pressure cooker, young James is finally stepping up, sharing the legendary name Philip, holds tight family ties to Edinburgh, and spent 18 full years dodging royal duties. Honestly, that exact distance might be precisely what the fragile monarchy actually needs. Intense rumors suggest young James might study far abroad or hit St. Andrews in Scotland just like his sister Louise did. Even if he refuses to officially use a royal title, he could boost charities like the Duke of Edinburgh's award. We'll find out together. Stick with me here. This amazing program started by Prince Philip changed countless young lives. It might actually be James's first real connection between his quiet private life and heavy royal duties. By December 2025, James actually sits 16th in line for the throne. That ranking seems far away, but remember, he was 8th at birth. The royal line naturally shifted as the family kept growing over the years. But being 16th, that still means he's absolutely on the shortlist to potentially become king under some very special, extreme circumstances. Meanwhile, his older cousins, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, proudly kept their royal titles, mainly because of their father, Prince Andrew. Plenty of insiders firmly believe James will completely reject a royal title, proving those humble values his parents taught him. However, now watch closely. Rumors aren't facts. Heavy pressure is building from Prince William, the evolving monarchy, and the truly massive legacy left by his grandfather Philip. One close friend of Prince Edward and Sophie actually leaked that James has zero interest in taking on royal duties right now. But look at history minds change all the time. Remember, Prince Philip himself came from those same royal roots, yet became an absolute pillar of Britain's monarchy without ever begging for the spotlight. James directly shares that exact same powerful heritage. Right now, he's actually studying quietly over at Radley College, one elite boarding school in Britain. But here's the crazy detail the media completely ignores. James doesn't need to work as a royal to be deeply important. You and I both know his mere existence, his pure bloodline, his name, and his grandfather's legacy all carry unbelievable weight whether he ever accepts an official royal title or not. The monarchy literally cannot ignore James. He is Prince Philip's very youngest grandchild, a living, breathing link to a powerful family that survived brutal wars, major crises, and endless brutal public scrutiny. When he is inevitably shoved into the harsh public eye, and he definitely will be, the world will see a young man raised entirely ordinary but who is absolutely anything but normal. That raw essence is honestly more royal than any flashy title or formal announcement from Buckingham Palace. That aura has always been right there. The monarchy just wasn't ready to acknowledge him. If this intense story changed how you view the British royal family, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and drop your honest thoughts down below. Do you actually think James Alexander should finally claim his prince title? Let's talk about it together.